Crowded Room, an Apple miniseries starring Amanda Seyfried and Tom Holland, is 2 episodes away from its finale, and its reception has been lukewarm, to put it kindly. Tom Holland recently went on a Jay Shetty podcast where he said that this job broke him and he had to take a break away from acting. Understandable, because right off the bat, the first thing I have to admit is that this is his most demanding performance to date. I think none of us are questioning whether Holland is a phenomenal actor. He most definitely is. It's the show, its writing and structure that makes it a disappointing experience. Before we go any further, this video is going to contain spoilers. In 3, 2, 1. The premise of this psychological thriller is simple. Our main character Danny is involved in a shooting incident. He gets arrested and is being interviewed by a woman who is not really a detective, but who has an interest in Danny in a professional sense. These informations are given to us in the first 10 minutes of the show, without introducing us to any of them or building their characters in front of us. At the same time, what is supposed to be a groundbreaking and subversive plot twist later on in the series is made painfully obvious at the beginning. And this is my main problem with this show. It tries so hard to make the structure of the narrative convoluted and complex for the audience that it ends up giving all of its secrets away by focusing on the plot twist and not on the characters and the premise of the plot. But I am getting ahead of myself. What is this big plot twist, you may ask? Well, the answer is our main character Danny has a multiple personalities disorder, and so he doesn't know that he really was responsible for the shooting, and that Amanda Seyfried's character, who is a psychologist, is there to talk to all of his personalities and to help him. The show is almost as confusing as my explanation here, because the writers don't introduce us to the characters at the beginning of the story. We spend 5 episodes on the constant repetition of this structure. Raya asks the questions about Danny's past. He answers something vague and pensive, and we get a flashback. Flashbacks include scenes from Danny's childhood, teenage years, presenting all of his friends and their uninteresting day out of life moments. All of that takes almost 70% of the screen time of the first 5 episodes. And because at the beginning we are thrown into what would typically be a second act of the story, we can't wait for these flashbacks to end. The structure of the story fails miserably to make this show engaging and satisfying, and above all else, it fails to make me care about main characters. When in episode 3, Danny approaches Raya and seems like he could be a danger to her, I feel nothing because I don't really care about either of them. I know nothing about Raya at this point, apart from the fact that she is here to ask some questions. The show gets good and interesting in episode 6, when we go back in time and get a proper introduction to her character. And even then, she is a very unlikable one. Very cold, very detached, uncaring towards her son, uncaring towards Danny, whose case she's basically using to get a tenure at the university. Those things that make us want to identify with the characters and follow their story should have been given to us in the first episode, in the first 20 minutes of the show. But because the writer Akiva Goldsman was intent on making Danny's diagnosis and Raya's profession a plot twist, we have to suffer through 5 episodes of boring and bland, endless flashbacks. Apart from that, the tells are all there in plain sight for us to see. I don't know if it's just me. Granted, I've seen enough of the similar shows in my life, and Goldsman's Beautiful Mind is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I may just know what to look for, but I didn't know anything about this show. I haven't watched the trailer or read any reviews before starting it, and it took me exactly a few minutes into the first flashback to figure out that all of these people aren't real, because all of Danny's friends aren't introduced as proper characters either. Mike, Johnny, Ishak, Ari, even Jack are floating around him aimlessly, just like the narrative of this show. We can smell the plot twist a mile away because none of these characters seem like real people from the get-go. So was Goldsman just recycling his old ideas from Beautiful Mind and trying to make this show as cerebral and complex as possible, but failed miserably because he forgot that we have to spend at least some of the time in the present with the character we're supposed to care about? One of the cardinal rules of writing a script is don't use flashbacks at all, unless you're 100% sure you're unable to tell this story differently. And I agree wholeheartedly. Why isn't Raya interrogating all of them, all of the characters / personalities, alter egos, which are all played by different actors, in the present, and only then in episode 6 we could learn that actually it was only Danny being interviewed. Because even though we already know and lived through the flashbacks, we still get an endless montage of scenes that are basically a do-over. Repetition of scenes we've seen before. This time it's only Danny there and not all of his alters. As I said, this show is just frustrating because it really gets good from episode 6. We stay in the present, we finally know who Raya is and what she wants. We even go into Danny's mind and see all of his personalities interacting with each other. We finally see Tom Holland being all of them and really showcasing what he can do as an actor. And finally, we care about Danny because we see him struggling to recognize and come to terms with his own mind. He is becoming a character we can feel for. We see what was done to him when he was little, and we understand that his alters were just trying to protect him and shield him from the world. And we start rooting for Raya to be able to prove that his condition is real and not some made-up craziness. And still, with all this, and 2 episodes away from the finale, the writers are still saving one plot twist for us, which is as painfully obvious as all of them were before. That Adam, the supposed twin brother of Danny's that died, is actually another alter that was saving Danny from remembering that he was sexually abused by his stepfather in his childhood. I'm guessing Adam will make an appearance in the courtroom or some other pivotal moment towards the end, but it's just another example of a plot twist that really isn't a satisfying end goal, but that's how writers are treating this story. The psychological twists and turns are more important to them than actual story from beginning to end. Frustrating, to put it mildly, because now I'm actually waiting for the remaining 2 episodes. But I can't imagine a regular viewer being able to sit through 5 episodes of nothing to get to the good part. Also, side characters that are not alters and that actually have personalities and are played by incredible actors suffer from lack of screen time. Both Emmy Rossum as Danny's mother and Thomas Sadowski, the detective, get only 2 or 3 scenes in total, and we are left craving for more of them. The whole production is impeccable. Main titles are really beautiful, even if they're another dead giveaway of the plot twists at the center of the story. Don't get me wrong, I love stories about this. As I've said before, Beautiful Mind is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I enjoyed, for example, Mr. Robot immensely. But both of these examples spend enough time to make us empathize with the main character and populated their respective worlds with enough real characters that the reveal of the fake ones, the imaginary ones, felt jarring and exciting. All of that being said, I will watch till the end, because now after 8 hours I'm finally invested. But the problem is I should have been invested a lot sooner. How about you? Did you feel close to the characters? Were you interested in the story from the start? Were you satisfied with the reveal? Tell me all of this in the comments. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.